Hey guys, welcome back. I'm just doing another video here of a watch that has recently really come into its own in my collection and has kind of, I should say, actually has killed pretty much all other types of watches for me. It's a tool watch of the highest order, if you will. Let me just clean that. But here it is. It is the Sinn UX. And this is a watch that I've wanted to try for a long time just because it's got a ton of technology in it, a lot of engineering, and Sinn is an engineer's kind of dream. Again, as an engineer professionally by trade and by education, I love the details, the thought, the R&D that kind of goes into this. Specifically, this is the UX GSG-9 EZM2B, and that's because there was an EZM2, and they changed it. So the GSG-9, what it does is if I zoom in, you get the logo, which is I think Germany's border patrol / counterterrorism unit, and it moves the crown from the 4 to the 10, which I think is pretty cool. It's unique, and having had a lot of Seikos, and even certain Sinns, they have them here. I think it's cool to have this. I wear it on my left hand, so I'm a righty. So this is a nice kind of thing. Also, the GSG-9 gives you the all-white seconds hand and a much cleaner kind of hand layout. It is filled with oil, which gives it this insane visibility at even the most oblique angles. You can see I'm pretty much looking at it and I can still see the seconds hand. I can still see everything going. So it's pretty cool. Again, technology. So let's go over it just spec wise. It is a 44 millimeter diameter watch. It is surprisingly very thin for its depth rating, and I'll explain that. It's at 13.3, 13.4. You've got 22 millimeter lug width, and lug to lug, it's about 50. It is made out of submarine steel, and this particular version is submarine steel with the regular bezel. For the GSG-9, it does come in the SDR version, which would give you the tegimented black bezel, which I'm sure you can buy later on. What I did do an upgrade is I got this on the silicone rubber, Sinn's silicone rubber, which has the fitted ends. But I'm a bracelet guy. I love watches on bracelets, so I managed to pick up one of these. Now this is Sinn's tegimented, which is their hardening process bracelet. And if you can tell, it is gray, but in certain light, you can see this is like a light gray, which is the case, which is just normal submarine steel, and the bracelet, which is a little bit darker. And so how you can tell if you have a tegimented bracelet is with this logo right here. You can see the little V right there. That tells you you have a tegimented bracelet. So this little add-on allows me to not worry about scratches, dings, especially on the clasp. I have seen a lot of Sinn clasps where, a clasp on a watch is where you definitely take most of the hit from desk diving, from scratches, etc. But yeah, so this one I put the bracelet on. I love it. It's very comfortable. With regards to the bracelet, yeah, it's not a super complicated bracelet in its design in terms of its clasp. It's no Rolex glide lock. It's no Omega clasp with the micro adjust. But what it is it's thin. Yeah, it's thin and it's comfortable. The only thing I would look into in the future is seeing if I can add one more hole here for that micro adjust, because they give you 3 micro adjust spots, which is about the size of a link, but sometimes you're just in between that link and maybe a half link. Of course, there is no half link for this bracelet, so one additional spot right to the right of it would be really appreciated, which is fine. My wrist's 7.25, maybe 7.3 inch, and it wears well. In terms of Everything else, the crown action, this is now the Sinn UX at some point had a push-in crown and also had the threaded crown. This one has the threaded crown. And honestly, this ETA movement in here is so accurate that you're only undoing the crown literally to change the dates when you go from a month with 30 to 31 or even 28, 29 days. So I'll be doing that shortly because today is the 24th. What else? It is rated for 5,000 meters. Now, that's insane. 5,000 meters is insane. I've had and have the Seiko Marine Master 1000 tunas, and I've seen videos of those go up to 3,000 meters. This is rated for 5,000, and the reason being is it's filled with oil. Now, the oil they use, or any oil, I guess, is pretty much an incompressible fluid, and therefore greatly increases the ability of the watch to withstand pressure. So this being only 13, and I'll say 13.5 millimeters thick, it's the same thickness as a Rolex Submariner. And, compared to a Sea Dweller, it's about 2 millimeters thinner. I think a Sea Dweller SD4K is about 15.5, and the new SD43 is a little bit thicker, but not by much. This has a rating of 5 kilometers. Just let that sink in. And because of its oil, its visibility underwater is actually pretty spectacular. Amongst other things on this, it has probably the tightest bezel on all the U series divers. Check it out. It clicks very well. It is very tight. There's minimal, in fact, there's probably no backplay on this compared to, say, a U1. But I also feel this is a higher grade bezel, and here's that action. If you've ever had Tudor Pelagos, think that action, but tighter. And I would say this is pretty tight, probably comparable to a Damasco, which I've had a few of before, the D-Sub 1 and 2. And that bezel was almost too hard to turn, kind of defeating the purpose in some ways, but also in some ways I play around with these during the day. It's kind of like a fidget spinner for me, and I like to not be able to like really put in some effort to turn it. You have a date there. Yeah, and then let's see at the back. I think this is another cool piece of technology. Again, Sinn with the technology. So there it is. It says UX. Let's get some light on there. Says UX, and I think it's got the rating right there, 5,000 meters, 500 bar. And what you're seeing here in the back, if I can get it to zoom, is a movable diaphragm. Now this movable diaphragm allows, depending on the temperature of, I guess, the wrist or the wearer or its surroundings, to kind of move up and down, allowing the fluid inside the oil to be compressed and constantly maintaining itself for the pressure required, but also maintaining itself so that no air can leak in. What happens in these watches, as they age, the oil, I'm assuming, loses its, starts to degrade with the movement kind of moving in, and as temperature swells go up and down, it starts developing an air bubble, and you do get the ingress of air. And so at some point, when this has to go back to Germany for its service, because it doesn't get service here in the US, has to go back to Germany. Under this end link is a small screw and the entry point for the oil, and they have the machine only in Germany, and I've inquired about it here in the States or even North America or anywhere else. They only have one of those machines apparently, and it has to be done in Germany. So other than that, it is a killer watch. Very accurate. It's supposed to be, it's got a ETA quartz movement, which I believe is thermal compensated, and very accurate. Dare I say it's a high accuracy quartz? I could be wrong, but honestly, this is the watch I've been now timing my other watches in my collection too. Yeah, and I guess that is it. Now let's do a little wrist check. I'll put it on. gotta snap it. There you go. So I don't wear it too tight, but it's on there. And yeah, I mean, I just wanted to thank some of the forum members on the What You Seek forums, including some of the gents who got this watch. There's one gentleman, his username is Baza. He really helps out a lot with these questions, and he and some of the other guys there have definitely converted me into a Zinner. Yeah, this is a beautiful watch, signed crown. You know, it's got a screwed and captive kind of bezel, so you can't pop this off with a case knife or anything like that. Yeah, and it's incredible. This watch actually gets attention because people think it's actually some kind of like digital like Samsung Gear watch or whatever, because it's looks from the side, it looks like it's actually just an LCD screen. That's how clear it is. Everything else is good about it. The one negative I would say after now owning this for a couple of weeks is I'm a lume junkie, and I love killer lume. I've got a Rolex, but my lume fillings come in from like the Marine Master line, including my tunas. So this has good lume, not great lume, good lume. And why I would give it good lume is, yes, it's not bright initially, it's not killer torch. You know, I've got a tuna where it gives off so much light, you can put it on a surface and you'll see the light coming off. But what it does have is long-lasting lume. So, you know, if you're outside and you come in, this lume will last the night, or it'll last enough that even in the morning, if you wake up, so if you charge it at just before going to bed, you wake up in the morning, you will still be able to see it at 6, 7 in the morning, which for me is the main purpose. I wake up sometimes at night and I need to see what time it is. Other than that, it's a great watch, great feature. I think that would be the one kind of upgrade on Zinn's, and maybe coming up with a machined clasp. And I know Zinn can probably do a pretty cool small machine clasp with some form of adjustability. They've done something similar for their clasp now on their silicone rubber, but I think for the bracelet guys, I think there's something that definitely better than this. Not that this is wrong. This is kind of like the old style Rolex clasps. It works. It's very comfortable. But, you know, you kind of feel like sometimes for all the engineering that goes into the watch head, you feel like there's a little bit of it lacking here. But I still love the watch. I still love the brand, and I'm hoping to get a few more in pretty soon. So, yeah, here we go. This is the Sinn GSG-9 UX, and if we zoom in, we can get that logo. All right, thanks.